the goal at any given race.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
The goal at any given race is, of course, to win. And CrowdStrike, AWS, and DXDT were fortunate to achieve championship-winning results in 2020. We're extremely proud to be partnering with Operation Motorsport through our racing initiatives. Their program seeks to place military veterans in various positions inside a real racing team. The experience aids in their retraining, recovery, and rehabilitation.
So my name is Chad Failing. I'm a staff sergeant retired out of the United States Army. I am with Kevin Boehm under DXDT. You're getting creative. You're getting taught to think outside of the box.
We couldn't be more proud to be affiliated with this great program. In the spirit of giving back to the community and creating meaningful opportunities, we are committed to building a diverse motorsports platform with the amazing men and women who have served our country.
On average, 22 veterans from North America commit suicide every single day. That's one veteran for every second of this video.
With 3 races left to go in the 2021 Winter League season, Operation eMotorsport, presented by Recaro, heads west for a 1-hour sprint through the sidewinding scenery that is Sonoma Raceway. Last week at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, we saw 2 drivers capture their 4th class win of the season, with beneficiary Hunter Reeve and open driver Christopher Bailey taking top honors, while Bailey also captured his 2nd overall win in a row. For the pros, though, it's been a much different story, as Charlie Bass became the 4th different winner through 5 very competitive races thus far. Now, with 3 races remaining, the 3 points leaders all have momentum on their side. So who will tackle this West Coast road course favorite as the series winds down in wine country? This is round 6 of the 2021 Winter League for Operation eMotorsports, presented by Recaro, and it's coming at you live on Pit Stop TV. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the virtual Sonoma Raceway, a track that carries so much history, and tonight that trend will continue with one of the best and most inspirational sim racing series on the platform. I'm Eric Brennan, pleasure to be with you here tonight. We have JP Costa joining us on the call tonight for Racing Action, Emerson Arden handling our production duties, and Corey Rexford has us covered on the socials. And while you're at it, make sure you check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Share us around because this series has stories aplenty, and it's going to start right off the top here with this racetrack. Now, this is a very diverse series. We're at race number 6 of 8, but Sonoma Raceway is perhaps one of the most technical tracks that we visit on the calendar. Here's a look at it, and as you can see, Sonoma's gone under some different name changes over the last few years, some different track configurations. This used to be classified as the classic NASCAR Cup Series layout. However, after a change back in 2019, this is in fact the layout in which the Cup Series has run the last time there and is scheduled to run later this season. As you can see, 12 corners make up this track that is still 2.5 miles in length. However, JP Costa, some of the most interesting characteristics of this facility are the added elements, including the carousel at turn 6. But just look at that track map. This is going to be a true challenge for all these drivers here tonight.
Yeah, exactly. This track is going to be an absolutely amazing race here tonight. Obviously, due to a lot of elevation changes we have here present. Obviously, turn 1 and turn 2 have a massive uphill climb. Then you dip down again on turn 3. The carousel would go up and down. And then obviously you have the sweeping corners of turn 8, 9, and 10. So it's definitely going to be a massive challenge for the drivers. We were talking here, some of the curves can be costly for the drivers. The car can actually spin on its roof. So, you know, this track is going to require absolutely precision from each and every single driver here tonight.
That's a great point. We've seen that in real life circumstances where some of the curbings here really can send a car over. And we'll talk about some of the big passing zones. And obviously turn 7 at the exit of the carousel, the right-hander is probably one of the best. You got to carry your momentum through the S's, through 7, 8, and 9. Turn number 10 is maybe one of the most difficult courses in West Coast road course racing because there's a very daunting tire wall to drivers left as you come through that turn. And then, of course, the hairpin at turn number 11. We'll go over all of this sidewinding roller coaster action here tonight, but that's a look at the course in which these drivers are competing on. As you mentioned, this is race number 6 of an 8-race calendar. We've got 3 different classes in this multi-class format and a tale of 2 tapes. As you can see here by looking at the point standings, Hunter Reeve and Chris Bailey for the beneficiaries and the opens, they've got 4 wins apiece in class. They've pretty much been dominating, although the points are not totally theirs just yet in terms of the championship. For the pros, though, the only driver to have 2 wins this season is that of Brandon Edgerchek. So, there's more wins up for grabs there, it seems, or at least it's been a little bit more wide open as far as capturing class victories. But JP, still a lot could happen here in these final 3 races, and the points are tight enough that we've got a fierce championship fight still on the line here.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in a race like this, a lot of things can happen to shake up the championship. Obviously, Hunter Reeve and Chris Bailey, they're on a hot streak right now. Obviously, both of them coming from big wins on the last few weeks. And, well, obviously, they could be bouncing back and winning once again. But, this track could be catching either one, if not both drivers here tonight. And that could shake up the championship if either Theo Brosum or Sean Knight or even Paul Lindsay can come in and pick up the points.
Yeah, and also we've been seeing the overall win trade hands from the pros, the open competitors, and more storylines that we're going to keep our eyes on here as tonight's race goes down. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the drivers who have captured top honors already this season. But every time that we talk about the Operation eMotorsport and Operation Motorsports as a whole, there's a bigger initiative and vision that is behind these drivers and stories you're seeing here tonight, specifically that of the beneficiaries. And we're going to highlight a lot of their stories as we get into the call of our race. But there are a number of partners who are involved to make these events, as well as the events that take place literally trackside, possible. Emerson Arden, who's handling our production duties here tonight, had a chance to catch up with 2 individuals who represent not only this organization, but this cause very, very well. It's Kevin Boehm and Bob Page of CrowdStrike Racing, and they go into their partnership with SRO. Emerson had a chance to catch up with them yesterday, and here's that interview that we have for you. Again, Kevin Boehm and Bob Page of CrowdStrike Racing.
All right, good evening. Tonight I'm joined by Kevin Boehm and Bob Page of CrowdStrike Racing. Kevin, Bob, how y'all doing tonight?
Great, we're glad to be here.
All right.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir. We love to hear it. So please tell the audience, please tell us all a bit more about yourselves. I guess, Bob, yeah.
Yeah, I head up and am the general manager or team manager for CrowdStrike Racing, which is a partnership with CrowdStrike Corporation and AWS. We have developed over the course of the last 5 or 6 years a very dynamic race program that is centered around our opportunity to bring CXO guests or senior level execs for Fortune 3000 companies to a race weekend and host them in a bucket list experience. We managed this year 3 cars, George Kurtz running GT3 Mercedes and GT World Cup, CJ Moses running the GT3 Mercedes and GT America, and Kevin Boehm running a Honda in TC America. And great program, great partners, worked with DXDT, which is our race team supplier and vendor. Great organization, and we've partnered with Operation Motorsports once again. They have been great partners of us for the past 2 to 3 years, and we look forward to expanding that relationship because of the valued services that they bring to our team and the opportunity for us to give back into an organization that we think very highly of.
Sweet deal. Yeah, Kevin, you've been with us on an interview before last season, I recall, if I recall correctly. So just once again, remind us, how'd you get your start in racing, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, kind of in high school, I got exposed to some club racing, and it really caught my attention, and I wanted to figure out how to get my way into racing. So I kind of talked around in the paddock at an event that I was at, and talked to a few different engineers that were working on teams, and decided that becoming an engineer might be a way to get into racing. So I went to college and focused on engineering, and specifically on motorsports, and at the same time kind of turned a salvaged Porsche 944 Turbo into a track day car, and then later into a club racing car, and that kind of eventually led to an engineering role at Honda R&D in Ohio, and eventually that led to racing Hondas, and eventually that led to meeting Bob and being able to put together a race program with CrowdStrike last year in 2020.
Right, it's a great program, and Bob already elaborated a little bit, but Bob, tell us more, I guess. How'd you become involved, or how'd you become partners with Operation Motorsport?
Quite honestly, it was at the effort of SRO, the race organization, bringing by Diesel and Tiffany to introduce them to us. We had an opportunity to talk in the paddock at VIR several years ago and explore what the organization was involved with. One of the things that I tell you about CrowdStrike and both AWS is that both organizations are fully loaded with retired vets. We have a number of vets that are involved, even at the senior level of both organizations. We're very proud to support veterans organizations. We have active programs within both companies. Through this program, we believe it gives us an opportunity to give back even more. And in the conversations with Operation Motorsports and leaders like Jason and Lynn, who visit us at the track every weekend and support the staff that they bring to participate with us, we really built a network that's really strong, brings back value to Operation Motorsports and vets, and brings back tremendous value to Kevin in one instance with his team, DXDT and our race organization on that side, and likewise the entire paddock. We're really happy to have them as part of our team, look forward to supporting them for years to come, and look forward to the value that they bring to us in helping us achieve things like Kevin coming in first in his class last year through Operation Motorsports team support.
Right on. It sounds very refreshing, and I'm very happy to hear that there's a lot of positivity with this partnership, and to speak so highly of Operation Motorsports. So I'll open the floor to both of you guys, and I guess, what is the value either of you have witnessed with this partnership?
Kevin, you can start there.
Sure. I mean, for me in particular, I'm just a small part of the kind of greater CrowdStrike team with DXDT, but kind of my car is doesn't take a lot of people to run, but when we were kind of brainstorming how to try to be successful last year, we saw an opportunity to kind of bring some more members on the team to help us kind of be efficient at the racetrack, and that's where we kind of got connected with Operation Motorsport through Bob, and at one point in the season, we were actually we had two beneficiaries on the team at once, and I think we're pretty unique being kind of a smaller part of the team, because we were able to expose the beneficiaries with a pretty wide range of tasks and experience that you wouldn't necessarily get the experience if you go to an SRO or another series event. So in the end, we were able to kind of get kind of a good taste of many different aspects of the racing, and then it was kind of icing on the cake that we were able to win a few races and clinch the championship, and kind of share that kind of sense of victory with everybody from the OpMode side as well.
Yeah, I wanted Kevin to speak first, because obviously the opportunity was created for Operation Motorsports through the engagement with Kevin's organization and his program. we utilize Operation Motorsports to help support Kevin and his efforts to help reduce costs on one hand, and yet on the other hand to give an opportunity to really engage on a level where they'd get great educational experience through the teaching and the support that Kevin could give to the program, and additionally for us to be able to identify what Operation Motorsports brings to DXDT racing and CrowdStrike racing in general. And through that effort, what has ended up happening is we've really begun to see the scope of what Operation Motorsports can deliver to the paddock. And we found that there are great opportunities to bring in people who have marketing backgrounds, photography backgrounds, even cooks and support personnel on that side, as well as people who have mechanical skills, learning skills, and the ability to really contribute across a broad spectrum of needs within the paddock. I think the thing that becomes most important of all is that they understand teamwork, and that's what racing is all about. At CrowdStrike, we have a mantra for this year, which is we win as one. As a company, we believe that as we all work together, we win. We win the competition, and we win the competition against hacking and cyber threat in this crazy world we're in. It's a similar thought and philosophy at the racetrack. And so we do win as one. And by bringing in organizations like OPMO that truly understand the value of teamwork, truly understand the opportunity to integrate into an organization and contribute on a variety of levels to that team effort, it gives us the results like we got from Kevin's team last year by winning the championship, winning the Rookie of the Year, and winning the team championship for the season. So we're all in and all supportive of Operation Motorsports, the various types of assets that they can bring to the program. We are very supportive of trying to get more people involved in SRO and contributing on that side, as well as other teams in the paddock. And this year, we're excited that we have 4 Operation Motorsports team members working directly with the team, plus Jason and Lynn's participation and support in helping to manage the logistics and bring those people to the events so we can deliver highly effective programs for Operation Motorsports.
Yes, I love this mindset that y'all have, especially with your partnership with OPMO and all. And this is a very positive partnership. I really hope this carries on for years to come. Speaking of years to come in the future, and you already kind of touched base on this, Bob, but for both of y'all, what are your goals in 2021? Either CrowdStrike OPMO related, just CrowdStrike related, or in general your goals for 2021.
At CrowdStrike Racing, obviously our goal is to move George from the second place finish he had last year in the series to the top of the podium and win the championship for 2021. Unfortunately, last year George had to leave COTA and didn't get to participate in one full race. And literally that was the difference in him winning the championship or coming in second. So that's obviously a primary goal. Secondary goal, and this is not to put down Kevin's program, is to get Kevin on the podium again and win 2 years in a row. Kevin's got an amazing talent, and we've got an amazing program going with Kevin and his group. And we're really excited to see him move up the ladder again and achieve another championship for TC class this year, moving up a class. I think Operation Motorsports, as we've already said, it's to expand the opportunity for members of OPMO to move into DXDT and across our entire platform of race cars. David Askew, who's the owner of DXDT, has been very excited to learn more about what OPMO offers, and so they've been more engaged this year in trying to find opportunities to bring more members in. Likewise, I want to make sure we expand this reach over to SRO, as I said earlier, so we have opportunities within SRO's marketing organization and support and staffing organization to bring additional OPMO people into that organization as well, and in addition to other teams in the paddock. Kevin?
Yeah, I mean, to build on that, as Bob mentioned, I'm fortunate enough to kind of change classes this year, moving from the TCA category to the TC category, which means I'll be racing a completely new to me car this year. So there's going to be a lot to learn, and we're going to have to do it kind of on the fly as the season's going. So it's really the focus is on learning that car and trying to optimize the car as both an engineer, as a driver, to get on the podium, like Bob said, and then I think it's going to be really important to kind of bring the OPMO beneficiaries that are working with me again this year to kind of help speed up and make that learning process really efficient. And in the end, we're all going to learn together between myself and OPMO. And as Bob mentioned, the goal is always to try to grab a championship. And I think we definitely have a chance at it this year. And it's just going to take a lot of work as a team between myself and OPMO to get there. So it's definitely going to be a tough and fun, exciting year.
Yes, sir. Well, how can people follow CrowdStrike Racing and they can watch this partnership grow, or the 2021 goals come to fruition, or just learn more about the team? How can people see all this happening?
Well, first off, we obviously have a website, which is crowdstrikeracing.com. If you go to that, we even stream the GT3 World Challenge races live. And you'll also be able to hear Kevin and hear CJ Moses from AWS and other guest speakers come on to talk about racing, talk about the experience, give us a driver's insight into what's happening, etc. We further have information on the website pertaining to all of our drivers, giving the background, their history, their success stories. And we also have information on there pertaining to our sim racing program and a variety of other programs that we run throughout the course of the year. We likewise are on all social media platforms. You can find the links to that on crowdstrikeracing.com. Kevin also has his own website and social media links. I'll let him bring that to you.
Right, as Bob mentioned, so we have the kevinboehm.com, which basically has the links to all of my social media, and what I personally try to use that for is to kind of give a up close and personal kind of behind the garage door view into what we're doing at the track and in between when we're preparing for the next race. So it's a between the CrowdStrike pages and our page, you can basically stay completely informed with what we're doing and what's next.
Right on. So thank you, gentlemen, for your time. It's been my pleasure to speak with the both of you this evening. Very excited for this partnership to continue, and again, we hope to speak to the both of you again very soon. Kevin Boehm, Bob Page, everybody, thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
Right on, and again, Kevin Boehm, Bob Page from CrowdStrike Racing. Very
And be sure to tune in this weekend as SRO has their opener on CBS Sports Network, and it'll also be available on the CrowdStrike Racing website. And I think I speak on behalf of everybody at Operation Motorsport. It's because of partners like that make these events possible and so much fun, and allows us the opportunity to do what we're doing here tonight, and that is highlight some of these stories. And there are a lot of them, including the fact that Christopher Bailey just wrapped up the quick time in qualifying. Qualifying has just come to a close. We are actually getting set to line up the field here for their parade and pace lap before we go green. And a familiar name is atop the pylon here by virtue of winning the pole. And Christopher Bailey, he's won the last two overall races that we have run. And he's also got 4 wins in the open category so far this season. He's going to be starting on the inside of the front row by virtue of his pole position. On the outside is going to be Dustin Burkhalter, the highest qualifying pro driver in car 33, in second. Thomas Alton is back in competition. He'll roll the 23 off on the inside of row number 2. Outside is going to be that of Shane Hunter. A pair of pros and a pair of opens in the first 2 rows. It's going to be Hunter, the pro driver, outside of row number 2 in 4th. 5th starting position is where you're going to find last week's pro winner in Charlie Bass in the 94. Outside is going to be another open driver in Sean Knight, who's had a strong season thus far, coming into tonight's contest high up there in the championship points. Now we're going to be moving back here to the rest of Hunter Reeve, the beneficiary point leader, and Brandon Ergachek takes you back to the 8th spot. And rounding out your top 10 positions is going to be that of in 9th. As the green flag is going to fly, it's going to be David Levine and Tyler Langenberg. We are underway here at Sonoma for round 6 of Operation eMotorsport from Pit Stop TV. So far, it is Bailey who has the jump out in front. So far, he's had the advantage since the drop of the green flag as he brings us through the carousel for the first time in turn number 6. Got about a 3-car length advantage as the competition tries to close up behind him. But thus far, a relatively clean opening lap with Bailey having the edge as they come from turn 7 on the far side of the course. Getting ready to set up for the S's here for the first time.
It looks like a clean first lap from first part of the lap for everybody. They went through the difficult part of the racetrack essentially. The first few corners, the elevation changes. You can see now every single driver on a single line. Looks like Christopher Bailey extended his lead over qualified, but you can see just on the back shot just how close everybody is to each other. And well, waiting for the exciting race, but looks like everybody made it through the first lap, which is the most important part. And now the chase begins for Dustin Burkhalter to try and close up the gap with Christopher Bailey.
Coming up to the hairpin here for the first time. A couple of cars peeking out there, trying to find their groove. And so far, Bailey's able to make that move stick here on the exit of the hairpin and back to the line to lead lap number 1. As you can see, this is going to be a 60-minute contest for this event, with Bailey having the early advantage out in front. Burkhalter second, Hunter in third. Alton lost a couple of spots there on the opening go around back to 4th, and Sean Knight takes you through your top 5 competitors there, with Hunter Reeve the highest running beneficiary, and right now the only beneficiary in the top 10, currently holding it down in 6th spot, the driver who comes into tonight's race with the championship point lead and 4 beneficiary wins under his belt. Off to a solid start here tonight at Sonoma.
Yeah, exactly. A perfect start for him all the way up into P6, challenging Sean Knight for that top 5 position, the 5th position. And obviously, as he's doing that, he's extending his championship lead, because I'm pretty sure his championship rival, Theo Brosma, finds himself only in P11 right now. So obviously, he's still on the train, but you know, if he wants to close up that championship gap, he needs to make some moves and maybe close up the gap if he wants any shot at that championship, because right now Hunter Reeve is on a hot streak.
Reeve now having a bit of a run here and trying to attack Sean Knight up ahead of him in the BMW to see if he has a chance to try to close up here and get around him as they come down the winding S's. And we look back now at Reeve as we approach turn 10, which is a medium braking right-hander here, but it's very easy to catch some of the curbing and maybe send you off towards those tire barriers. We got a problem. Justin Jarrett, one of the beneficiaries in the field, with an issue here on what looks like the lead up perhaps to turn 4 before they cut into that infield portion of the racetrack. I stand corrected. That's on the approach to the uphill sector at turn 3. So Justin Jarrett, one of the first drivers to have some trouble here tonight, and he is one of the beneficiaries, and we're going to go back and take a look at what happened.
Oh, yeah, just as we talked on a pre-race show, the curb on turn 2 catching a driver out. Luckily for him, the car is still on 2 wheels, as you can see there. Just a nice heads up, looking on the relative box, keeping the car clean. And unfortunately for him, that's a few seconds lost, but luckily for him, no damage. So he can just keep going on his race, but definitely a wake-up call, for every single driver on turn 2 right now.
Justin Jarrett, as we mentioned, one of the beneficiaries in the field, born and raised in Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania, and he served in the U.S. Army from 2010 up until 2015 as an information technology specialist. And some of the highlights in his service include deploying to Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan 2011 to 2012. And just an incredible resume for a driver here who's in the field, and he's always had a love for racing, and it has been rekindled here in large part by virtue of being in iRacing back in 2013, and we are lucky to have Justin Jarrett as one of our beneficiaries in tonight's field, and we cannot thank him enough for all that he has done for us and our country. We wish you the best of luck continuing on here tonight. Bad luck plagued him to start this race, but still a long way to go. 55 minutes remaining in this race, and we're starting to see shape up in similar fashion as they did a week ago. But how about this battle? This is from Sean Knight on back, then Hunter Reeve, and now we're looking at Brandon Egerchek, who has a win under his belt in the pro category already this season. As a matter of fact, Egerchek won the first 2 rounds for the pros back at Daytona and Road America. Uncharacteristic qualifying effort, though, for Egerchek, as he was on the bottom portion of the top 10, trying to patiently work his way further forward, and he's got the very fast Hunter Reeve up ahead of him, trying to hold on to that 6th position. Egerchek runs in 7th. 8th is David Levine, Tyler Langenberg 9th, and up into the top 10 is Theo Brosima, rounding out the top 10 spots for now.
Yeah, Theo doing what he needs to do, just slowly getting those positions. He finds himself only 1 second actually behind Tyler Langenberg, who's a pro driver. So obviously a great race for him at the current state. He wants to close. As you can see now, Tyler Langenberg looks like he's struggling a little bit. Obviously we do have to remember that the Porsche, it's a better car over those twisty and kind of tricky section, while the BMW can just stretch its muscles on the straight. So it's a pretty balanced track for both cars. But obviously I'm sure Theo is already thinking where he can make a move, and especially on the carousel we saw the BMW getting quite loose, so we could be seeing a move actually being made on the next few laps if he can get close enough to the BMW.
And one of the items we talked about in the lead into our track map here tonight are those curves, those yellow and blue curves there. They look a little bit, light if you were to get up them. And on certain places of the racetrack, like the exit of turn number 10, they are. Or even here, as they come through the hairpin turn at turn number 11. Oftentimes, you would see some of the stock cars that run at Sonoma run all the way over that curbing and even use the right side door to maybe nudge those tires off a little bit further up the inside to give them more room to take a tighter corner. But at places like here, the uphill approach to turn number 2, or even through the S's, the elevation of those curves are not the same all around the racetrack. And in some cases, they're like launch ramps as you see them hit them hard here up through turn 3A before they hit the cut here to turn 4 to head off towards the carousel. And that's something these drivers really have to keep in mind, is you could abuse the curves in some sectors of this racetrack, but certainly not all. And some drivers may find that out the hard way, as Hunter Reeve is on the attack. He's up into the top 5, in and around Sean Knight, and that's going to break Sean Knight's momentum on the exit of the carousel. And here comes Egerchek to try and pounce.
Egerchek is going to be looking down the inside of turn 7. Can he make the move? Ooh, looks like he's brave under braking. Ooh, and everybody looks like makes it clean. That was a beautiful move by Egerchek to move himself all the way up to P6. Now obviously giving chase once again to Hunter Reeve, but brave on the brakes. And unfortunately for Sean Knight, he loses 2 positions in the span of 2 corners, and now he has to find his momentum back and try to get those places back.
And actually it looks as though that Sean Knight's momentum has been broken here coming down the hill here through the S's. He's starting to get some heavy pressure from behind from David Levine and Tyler Langenberg, who are starting to close up on him here as they hit the binders through the hairpin once more off of turn number 11. And looked as though the back end started to slide there on Knight's car, able to gather it in before catching the outside retaining wall. But this battle here in and around the final few portions of the top 10 continues to rage on as they head up the hill to put another lap on the board. And just like that, we're nearly 10 minutes into this race, and Christopher Bailey at the moment is picking up right where he left off.
Yeah, exactly. Christopher Bailey doing what he needs to do, just putting out those lap times. We saw a few laps ago he managed to place in the fastest lap of the race, but Dustin Burkhalter is still within a second of him. So, we're not sure if he has the pace to match or even go faster, if he can make a move, or he's just thinking about the long-term strategy of the race cars. We saw how important fuel saving can be, especially on these cars, and well, we could be seeing some different strategies, but obviously these two are just on a class of their own. Shane Hunter finds himself in P3, 2 seconds behind both of them, and well, he's by himself again, and Thomas Alton just rounds off the top 4, but these two, I'm expecting a race-long battle between these two, and we know that neither Christopher Bailey nor Dustin Burkhalter crack under pressure, so this can be very, very interesting on the final few laps of the race.
On a track that is typically one groove with minimal passing opportunities like that of Sonoma Raceway, it's sometimes hard to find subtle differences in line or approach to certain corners by a number of competitors. And I happened to notice there as they came from number 7 before they made their way down through the S's, it looked as though that Bailey took a much wider arc coming through that right-handed corner, while Burkhalter held a tighter line, and it seemed to be a little bit faster. Not sure if that's a mistake perhaps on Bailey's part, or if they are in fact taking different approaches. But the pressure is starting to be applied, and there's a lap car ahead of the leaders. You saw Bailey there try to flash the brights momentarily to warn that lap traffic that they are coming. As he runs a little bit wide off the corner here, he's going to catch the lap car coming into 4, and he'll give way. Bailey's through cleanly. Now Burkhalter's turn to try to clear the lap traffic. He's going to have the pass made before they get to the carousel, and the first close call with lap traffic for the leaders has come and gone.
Yeah, exactly. That could have been dangerous, but that was a nice heads-up driving from the left car. Both drivers actually made it pretty clean. Looks like Christopher Bailey came out with just a bit of an advantage, being able to get the proper racing line out of turn 4, sorry. And Dustin Burkhalter actually got a big compromise. As you can see now, Dustin, as you said, the different lines that are being taken. Obviously, Christopher Bailey looks like he's thinking about the exit. As you can see, just that line, that wider arc, just shoots his car all the way up on the road. And unfortunately for Dustin, looks like he's just going for the tighter line, just getting the shortest line possible through the corner, which might be compromising his exit speed.
Just little tiny differences as Burkhalter catches a lot of the curbing there on the right-hand side of turn 10. And they approach turn number 11, and you see Burkhalter here visibly later on the brakes coming through the hard right-hander. And you're right, JP, it appears as though that the soft, subtle entry by Bailey is allowing him the opportunity to put the power down a little bit faster than that of Burkhalter, who's coming in a little bit more aggressively, but having to wait longer to get back on the loud pedal. And that's the ebb and flow we're starting to see amongst these two. But Burkhalter appears really good here up to the run to turn 2. And they seem to tighten it up here through 3 and 3A before they head off to turn 4. These two having a great race, about 2 seconds clear of that of Shane Hunter, who holds down the final spot on the podium. But there may be a couple more lap cars up ahead, even though we're very early on in this race.
Yeah, exactly. As we said, mistakes can happen for each and every single driver, and we saw how much time you can technically lose if you just make a simple mistake, because obviously it's grass. The car's just going to be spinning its wheel. You're just going to be losing time trying to get back on the racing surface. So we're definitely going to be seeing a nice spread, I guess, of lapped cars. Hopefully none of them can get in the way. As you just saw on the corner of your screen, we do have a BMW getting, well, about to be lapped. I'm not pretty sure who that is. That's Brian Winker. So Brian Winker, I'd say he's around 5 or 6 seconds up on the road, probably around 2 or 3 laps for the leaders to catch him. So already he's going to be getting the blue flags, the warning, and obviously the headlight flashing, if not comms on the racetrack, because we do know these drivers actually talk and give heads up. As you can see now, Rodney Campbell in the pits. Now, question is that strategy or damage?
Well, judging by the cue up of the replay here from our production truck, it sounds as though that Mr. Campbell may have had a bit of an issue out on the racetrack, which has caught a couple of drivers off guard. We'll see here what happened to Campbell in the BMW. Now, this appears to be, wow, just completely missed the corner there at the carousel, runs up the hill and launches his way up over the barrier. I believe the judges are going to give him a 10 for the landing, even though the dismount was not so solid. But Campbell, a bizarre incident there, wondering if that was an equipment failure, as bizarre as that was.
Well, that was on the carousel, so as you said, it could be equipment failure. The throttle might be stuck a bit, as you can see now, different replay. Looks like through turn 4, he was absolutely solid, just hitting the apex perfectly. Through turn 5, he also seems okay. Now, did he just miss the braking point? Let's see. Oh, yeah, looks like he just understeering. He just got a bit too much speed, and unfortunately for him, he just hits the mountain that is just ahead of him, and unfortunately just, well, pinches his car against the 2 walls. And, well, that's a weird accident if I've ever seen one.
There was an interesting spectator there on the opposite side of that chain link fence. I believe they were both wondering how that one may have happened. Tough break, though, for Campbell. Campbell actually started this race in not too rough of a position. As a matter of fact, when he came to the green flag, Campbell was in the 14th spot. Also, it appears that Charlie Bass, according to timing and scoring, he may have had a problems at some point in this race. He was our winner last time out at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. So Bass is scored right now down in the 20th spot. In fact, he's just getting around Campbell, who got the tow back to the pit area. So the driver who started 5th in this race, now 19th in the running order. And I believe he's got a little bit of damage there. I'm not sure if that's just widescreen. It looks as though the front end may be crinkled up a little bit. So Bass, in his effort to try to win back-to-back events for the pros, has taken a heavy blow early in this race. Still 45 minutes to go, give or take. But Bass is well down the running order early in this one.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen just how tricky this track can be. We already saw 3 cars pretty much making mistakes, and it looks like a pro driver was the next one. And unfortunately for him, as you said, going for back-to-back wins, and unfortunately finds himself all the way down in the running order. But, you know, he still has a long race. He can try to work a different strategy, or maybe just go on raw pace to try and find. But, you know, as you can see, Hunter Reeves still on a solid P5, just holding his own against the pro driver of Egerchik. That's impressive performance by the beneficiary driver. And as you can see now, they're catching lap traffic. So this could play a factor on this battle for P5 as they both head down the carousel and onto turn 7.
It's been no surprise to see the best of Hunter Reeve as they work their way around the car before they approach turn 7. And we often like to highlight a number of the beneficiaries who are in this program. Let's talk about Sergeant Hunter Reeve, who served in the U.S. Army as an OH-58D crew chief from 2011 through 2017 before being medically discharged. But through his life, Hunter's been a racing fan. He actually raced karts when he was young. To put it bluntly, he says, "Racing has just been something I have always loved." And he recalls a photo of when he was about 1 or 2 years old that showed him glued to the TV while watching the Indy 500. So tonight, Hunter is piloting the number 44 Porsche. And what he loves about Operation Motorsports is the fact that he finds like-minded people who have been through much similar experiences. And it mirrors his experience as being a helicopter crew chief. Being in aviation, every part and member is important to the safety of the aircraft and mission. For example, serving as a crew chief, the avionics shop, the airframe, and the sheet metal shop are all vital to an aircraft's and crew's safety. Well, like he says, in racing, it's just like aviation. Everything you do and you don't see is just as important as the on-track performance. And Hunter Reeves' on-track performance has been stellar this season, looking for win number 5. Brian Winker's night has evidently gone from bad to worse. He's on the pit lane, JP Costa. We saw him well down the running order. It appears he's had an off as well.
Well, we're gonna check. Oh, it's on the final corner. He already seems to be struggling quite a bit, going wide on turn 11. That's a weird line. As you can see now, they're going through turn 12. Looks okay. Is it on turn 2 again? As he, oh no, he just, I don't know if he just was letting someone by. Was he getting left? And unfortunately, just got onto the marbles. And as soon as the back end of the car just went out, he just overcorrected into the concrete wall, and that's big damage for the BMW. Luckily for him, they do have fast repairs, so he just, unfortunately, he just crashed outside of the pit entry, as you can see now on onboard replay. So he's just gonna have to wait for the tow. But you know, as you can see, just letting some drivers go by and unfortunately just breaking all their marbles, and that's gonna be enough to make the car just spin around, and unfortunately for him, overcorrecting on the wall.
You saw the back end was the first part to go on that BMW machine, and just a bit of an overcorrection there on one of the few spots in this racetrack that is not so forgiving, literally surrounded by concrete from pavement to pavement, left side to right side. So that is something that was rather interesting there for Winker. And here's what appears to be the theme of the race: lap traffic. This is the leader in Christopher Bailey, again, the open competitor who has won back-to-back overall races, and he's actually captured the flag for 4 of the open races, or he's won 4 class events for the open competitors, looking for win number 5. Dustin Burkhalter is challenging him for that top spot in the overall, and having to navigate lap traffic may be the biggest test to Christopher Bailey's night. He's already about at the 1/3 distance of this race. He's been able to get through the lap traffic a little bit cleaner than that of Burkhalter, although Burkhalter got a break there in the straightaway that leads up to 7. They've gapped the rest of the field back to Shane Hunter by almost 6 seconds, but Bailey and his ability to get through traffic may be the key to this race. And if we think back to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, where Bailey clearly had the fastest car, it was a rare mistake by the leader that took him out of contention, albeit momentarily, shuffled him back to 4th in the running order, and he had to fight diligently to get back to the head of the pack, where he would eventually stay. Will we see a similar form of events here tonight en route to what could be another win for Bailey, or will the competition have something to say about it? We have 2/3 of this race left to go, 40 minutes remaining as Bailey comes back to put another lap on the board, and he has extended that lead over Burkhalter by about 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. We saw the pop-up for the fastest lap just coming up on the, I guess, 2 laps ago. And, well, Christopher Bailey just pumping on those lap times. Now he's already 1.5 ahead of Dustin Burkhalter. So he seems to be repeating his form of Canadian Tire. Not as quick as he was back there. Obviously, there he was the absolute class of the field. But looks like he still has the pace to just pretty much just drive away. And Dustin Burkhalter right now cannot respond. As you can see now, Theo Brosema trying to apply pressure on Sean Knight, who's unfortunately for him, he was running P5 on the start of the race, and right now he's finding himself defending for 9th place and just coming under pressure from the beneficiary, the driver of Theo, who definitely wants to be going past him and try to chase down Hunter Reeve, who's right now 9 seconds ahead of him.
The big picture, of course, is the fact that after tonight's race, there will be just 2 rounds of competition to go. Next week, it'll be at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. The week after, we'll close the season March 16th with an endurance event on the calendar scheduled to be a 120-minute affair as opposed to our traditional 60-minute sprint race format at the Sebring International Raceway. And one thing that's got to be on the mind of a heavy braking Theo Brosema as he goes way wide there on the entry to turn number 7, but he's able to put the power down quickly, is the points championship. He has virtually been chasing Hunter Reeve throughout the majority of this season. The only exception was when Brosema got the win at Road America in round 2. Every other race, he's been trying to contest Reeve for the class victories, and Reeve has been able to edge him out. Right now, as they run, Hunter Reeve, who's trying to fend off Egerchek for the 5th spot, has a couple of positions in the bank over Brosema, who's trying to climb up further forward in the top 10. We see Brosema trying to make a move here over Sean Knight, who slips up off turn 11. That's going to get Brosema up to 9th, and that chart is going to have to continue if he wants a chance to grab his 2nd class victory of the season and to remain within contention in this championship title fight for the beneficiaries, with what will be 2 races to go at the conclusion of tonight's event.
Yeah, obviously, and we know that drivers tonight don't have to only to rely on pace, they have to keep it clean. We saw pro drivers, we saw open drivers, and we saw beneficiary drivers making mistakes on this racetrack. So if Theo can keep himself clean and pump up those good lap times, as right now he's trying to chase Tyler Langenberg for the 8th spot, he might be on a contention. Obviously, Hunter Reeve is not immune to mistakes, and definitely can happen. We hope that it doesn't happen, but you know, if he can just keep pumping up those lap times and keeping his car clean and on the tarmac, he might be on for a great result and might be putting out some championship points out of Hunter Reeve's pocket.
Meanwhile, we're going to move up here just a little bit and check out Thomas Alton, who we mentioned had a very strong qualifying run earlier tonight. Started 3rd. He's only lost 1 spot, but he's trying to get it back away from Shane Hunter. And if you look at the top 5, you know, when we talk about multi-class racing, there's a number of reasons why some of those drivers are placed in the categories in which they hold, and you can identify what class they're in by the letter at the end of their name. So Alton with the O on the right-hand side of his name signifies he's an open competitor, trying to get down and by Shane Hunter, who has the P class labeled next to his name, is one of the pro competitors in the field. But if you look at the top 5, you can tell just how equal some of these competitors are in this field. Even though we identify them for various respective reasons because of their specific involvement in Operation eMotorsport, their competitive nature, it's pretty tight as we see these drivers try to navigate through some of that traffic here without stuck to the outside of the exit of turn 3A. But you have to applaud the fact that things are so diverse at the front of the pack. We got the open driver and Bailey leading, the pro drivers of Burkhalter and Hunter rounding out the podium, open driver Alton in 4th, and beneficiary Hunter Reeve in the top 5 and trying to close. But his battle for 3rd is the best one we've got going for now. Alton trying to get a run on the exit of the carousel.
Looks like Shane Hunter is definitely feeling the pressure right now. He felt the pressure through turn 4 and through the carousel. He just went wide and so close to touching the grass, sorry, the dirt essentially, and just moving himself out of the way. But looks like Thomas Alton is on a streak right now, applying so much pressure to Shane Hunter right now. He has to keep himself composed as now they head into the fast S's of turns 8 and 9, and now heading into turn 9. And as they're going to be heading through turn 10, I'm pretty sure Thomas Alton, if he's close enough, he's definitely going to be thinking about a move onto the hairpin. And now the question is he close enough? Looks like not at this moment, but if you can keep just applying the pressure, forcing a mistake, he might be on for something in the next few laps.
As we continue to watch this fight for third, let's take this opportunity to thank some of the partners of Operation eMotorsport who make this possible. We mentioned the presenting partner with Operation eMotorsport is that of Recaro Automotive. Now, Recaro Automotive performance seats are more than just a set of components. They exude innovation, quality, premium materials, craftsmanship, and a genuine passion for cars. Recaro Automotive is proud to support Operation Motorsports in iRacing and the Operation eMotorsports 2021 Winter League. Another premier partner of Operation eMotorsports is that of Mobil 1. And since day one, Mobil 1 Advanced Synthetic Motor Oils have been a part of every Corvette racing win. But that tradition continues with the new mid-engine Corvette C8R. Today, Mobil 1 Racing and the OW50 protects the next generation of America's sports cars on the track, while Mobil 1 Advanced Synthetic is still found under the hood of every Corvette off the track. No matter where the hood of your Corvette is located, it's always been Mobil 1 from day one. Mobil 1 is the world's leading synthetic motor oil brand, and the Corvette Racing C8R is now available in iRacing for anyone looking to experience the exhilarating mid-engine performance of the C8R in the virtual world. And again, thanks to those partners, Recaro Automotive and Mobil 1, for stepping up in a huge way to support this initiative, including this 2021 Winter League with Operation eMotorsport. And we've got heavy traffic ahead of the leaders out of the hairpin. Bailey starting to lose that lead he built up, and they're double wide in front of him. JP, this is going to be fun.
This is everything Dustin Burkhalter was asking for. Two drivers battling for position, obviously being lapped by the leaders. That is essential for him to close up the gap back down to 1 second. As you can see now, just the gap closing was 1.5. Now I think it's down to less than a second, probably even less. As you can see now, Christopher Bailey probably just getting a bit desperate behind the wheel, trying to lap these two. And oh, Christopher Bailey just turns around.
Problems for the leader, Christopher Bailey, for the second week in a row, and he backs into the wall hard and sustains big damage to the rear wing. Looked as though he was going to get away with that one, but the car rolled all the way to the tire barrier, and he's going to have some serious downforce issues on the back end of that race car.
That was unexpected. I'm pretty sure he just dipped a wheel onto the dirt, as we're going to see now on the Pit Stop TV replay. That was completely unexpected. Just as you mentioned, Eric, the mistake we saw last week could have repeated itself this week, but this week the gap that he had lap after lap from the other drivers was extremely low. And now you're just gonna see now as he heads into turn 3, he has the optimal racing line. Unfortunately, it looks like he just gets pounced. Oh no, he hits. So the left car just went a bit too slow for him, and unfortunately for him, he just got caught out and just essentially hit the brakes, and the rear just spun. That's really unfortunate for our previous race leader.
Yeah, looked as though the lap traffic has played a bit of a role in the fortune of Christopher Bailey's night tonight, and I'm curious if he was trying to lock it down perhaps, and the car continued to roll. We're on board with him now. We're going to see how this all unfolds with the lap vehicle ahead of him, a pair of them as a matter of fact. As they head up through, this is going to be setting up for turn 3, and 3A is where the launch is going to come. And right here, as they come over the hill, bang, right into the backside. And it looked as though Bailey might have spun while trying to avoid. And as the car rolled back, this impact with the wall is what knocked the rear wing off that machine. And I was going to be interested, JP, in seeing if Bailey could pull one of those miraculous comebacks like he did last week at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. But with that much damage to the back end, I'm not sure what his options are here. He may have to come down and get that fixed. He's currently running 4th, which ironically is the spot that he fell down to 1 week ago when similar things happened. But I'm not sure with that level of damage, he's going to be able to work his way back further forward, even though we still have more than half of this race remaining.
I guess his strategy right now is going to change, because obviously we do see these drivers just running the tank dry. Obviously, the car to get the car as light as possible, but we might be seeing Christopher Bailey being the first of the essentially top 5 to come down to pit road as soon as the pit window opens, because obviously they do have the fast repair, so that repair can be done in an instant. But obviously that's going to hurt his strategy, because he's going to be running with a car, obviously a heavy car full of fuel. But obviously right now he's just struggling, not as nearly as much downforce as he had before, and wouldn't be surprised if the rear of the car was just getting a little bit twitchy lap after lap, as he's trying to, I'm sure he's trying to push and just pump out qualifying laps. And we do have another car spun around. Jason Leach looks like that's on the exit of the carousel on turn 6. Unfortunately for him, looks like he also sustained quite a bit of damage.
That's not a spot where we are accustomed to seeing problems. That looked well onto the straightaway between the carousel and turn 7. Let's see how this unfolded. Looks like there's already some damage there to the back end of that car, so maybe the rear is not going to stick on exit, and that's exactly what happened. He lost the back end big time, climbs way up the hill, goes behind the vicinity there of some of that foliage that makes up the infield portion of the racetrack. Fortunately for him, that tire wall does not fully extend all the way back to the rumble strip there on driver's left. But a high speed off by Jason Leach, one of the open competitors. It looks as though maybe his second incident of the night, this one not resulting in as much damage as the first, but we are halfway through this 6th race of the 2021 Operation eMotorsport campaign presented by Recaro Automotive, and it's been wild. Right now, it is Dustin Burkhalter, the leader. We're going to step aside for a moment, though, and we are going to hear a word from Cody Renneker.
I found out about Operation Motorsports through the program I'm in with the military. They're helping me transition into the civilian life, and this was a great way for me to take my passion and see what it's like on the high-performance side. I'm here to pick up what I can learn from them so that I can use it with my future career as being an automotive mechanic. This is a great experience whether you're just a at-home kind of person working on your car, changing oils or stuff like that, or wanting to go into the high-performance side. I'm loving how the team's taking me in and really showing me everything. It'll show you just about everything you need to know from the driver standpoint to the tire changing.
We're back here at the virtual Sonoma Raceway, where Dustin Burkhalter has the overall lead after a problem that plagued Christopher Bailey while trying to navigate his way through some lap traffic. The lead now for Burkhalter, one of the pros in the field, over fellow pro competitor Shane Hunter, is over 6 seconds as he comes through the carousel. Make that 8 seconds. I apologize there. I just had LASIK. I should be able to read these numbers clearly. Let's call it 7 seconds. We'll split the difference there. But it is, in fact, although it looks as though a change here and a crash. That was the driver who was running second. Shane Hunter has had a problem on the exit of the carousel. Wow, that's why the number was fluctuating. And it's Hunter who finds a problem at the same part of the racetrack where Leach had spun just a couple laps ago.
Looks like we're going to see a rinse and repeat of what we saw in the beginning of the race. Looks like he's just going to be out braking himself onto the carousel. As you can see now, Shane Hunter coming absolutely cleanly through turn 5. And as soon as he goes over the crest, he just brakes. The car doesn't stop. He puts a wheel onto the dirt. And, well, he's just going to be going up on the mountain. He's going to be... Oh, he doesn't hit the tire barrier. But unfortunately for him, he's going to be hitting this tire barrier. And that's quite a bit of damage to the bonnet. And unfortunately for him, there's just no way you're going to reverse through there. So... that's unfortunate for our P2. So now we saw our leader, our second place finisher, second place runner making mistakes. So we're seeing not everybody is immune to mistakes on this racetrack.
At first glance, I thought that was an issue that happened at the exit of the carousel. Turns out that was going into the carousel. So that was very similar to what happened to Rodney Campbell. He just didn't perfect the backflip. So Hunter, one of the pro drivers, it looked as though it doesn't matter what class you're racing in here tonight. This track is jumping up and catching people off guard in a number of reasons. And once you end up in this precarious of a spot, it's pretty hard to back your way out of that. And he had to elect to have it towed back. So Hunter, who was in a podium spot, JP, you're right. It appears for the front runners, nobody is safe on this racetrack. Sometimes it's lap traffic induced. Other times it's just by a mistake or a bit of an overdrive here. How about Tim Bernard overcooking the entrance to turn 2, and he collects another competitor. Bernard was the car that had the initial problem running up the hill, bounced off the side of his fellow driver. and had to do a couple of donuts before he got it pointed in the right direction. And Bernard, one of the beneficiaries in the field as well, the BMW driver coming out of New York, and he collected with John Fix, who's an open competitor. Not that many spots lost by those two in that exchange, but nevertheless, an interesting ascend up to turn number 2 and more conflict and contact.
Well, as we saw there, even before turn 2, we can see a few mistakes happening, and unfortunately for him, just carrying a bit too much speed and unfortunately just carry out a competitor. But the driver who cannot make a mistake right now, he has to keep it clean if he wants to win, is Dustin Burkhalter. Over a 7-second gap to P2 as we have now a car exiting the pits. Is that the second? Yeah, it looks, yeah. I'm not pretty sure who that is. Yeah, that's Shane Hunter. So our P2 unfortunately finds himself over a lap down at this moment in time for him. Looks like he's a lap down right now in P15 if I'm not mistaken. But Dustin Burkhalter, he has to keep it clean. He saw a lot of drivers making mistakes ahead of and behind him. So I'm sure he's going to be a bit nervous as he heads into those corners that he saw those mistakes.
Now we're going to start to get into the environment of what may be scheduled stops with 24 plus minutes to go in this event. And we see the car of Sean Knight coming into the pit area. Now, Knight started up in the 6th spot, kind of faded down the top 10 running order at one point in this race. But this may be in the vicinity of what we'll call scheduled service for what could be their one and only pit stop in this race. And nailing down the fuel number has been something that we followed over the last couple of weeks in Operation eMotorsport. And for a driver to come in this early, you have to make sure that you're in the pits long enough to get enough fuel to last the duration of this event. And Knight is going to be the first one who's really going to be able to test that strategy. We drop back here to some more fights that are happening throughout the racetrack. How about Jake Gleason, who's an open competitor in the field? He's trying to work his way further forward. Is that of Gleason? Currently running his way up the hill, under fire by a couple of competitors just behind. But Gleason is someone who we'll keep our eyes on here as he comes up through turn number 2. And we await the pit strategy. John Winker, a beneficiary, just behind. And Trevor Hill, another open competitor, currently running in a rather solid position. Right now we have Hill scored in the top 10. Looks as though that with some pit strategy starting to take shape, and it's going to continue to take shape with Thomas Alton now moving onto the pit lane as he was running in 2nd spot. So these are the front runners coming in for their one and only pit stop, and Christopher Bailey is in as well. He may forego trying to repair that damage to perhaps salvage a podium finish, and at this rate, he still may be in contention for the open class victory if he could find a way up and around Alton as they're both on the pit lane at the same time.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a battle to watch as we can see now the BMW getting quite loose as he's going through turn 1, but Thomas Alton is going to have to defend because I'm pretty sure Christopher Bailey is going to be coming up on absolutely qualifying laps for the remainder 22 minutes of this racetrack. I'm pretty sure he wants to at least get on the overall podium once again, as we do have, looks like, teammates battling for position. We do have the 91 of Tyler Langenberg chasing down David Levine as they head through the carousel, but Christopher Bailey is going to be one to watch, at least on this final part of the racetrack, because obviously as soon as you're leading the race and you make a mistake, you're just going to be pushing as hard as you can to try and make up the lost ground, and I'm sure he's going to be doing just that.
So we got a pair of BMWs battling for position here on the exit of turn number 7 and down the hill through the S's. We are awaiting a couple of the front runners to come down the pit lane. I believe the top 6 have yet to stop. We know that Alton was on and off for service, as was Christopher Bailey, as was Sean Knight. So we are waiting on Burkhalter, Reed, David Levine, Tyler Langenberg, as well as Brandon Egerchek, who we are following here, those pair of BMWs, and they are going to approach the pit lane. They may forego that opportunity. I'm sorry, there's Egerchek that we are kind of keeping our eyes on and trying to see if the pro drivers going to elect to come down for service. But Burkhalter remains out front. And now we have Hunter Reeve, the beneficiary leader in this race, coming down for service. He was running 2nd in the overall, and this is his opportunity to come down for service, and we'll see how long that car remains on the pit lane and how he cycles out, with Burkhalter still electing to remain on track.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if the car went up in a jacks, does he take tires? If he did, that's kind of an interesting strategy. Obviously, the track could be quite hot. Obviously, the track elevation, the track nature itself wards down the tires. So if he took tires not only to attack but to defend, that could be a smart strategy that could pay off towards the end of the race. As you can see now, the car getting quite loose out of turn 2. But, you know, Hunter Reeve getting an absolute perfect race so far, no mistakes, and I hope he keeps that streak going. You know, seeing him finishing up on the overall top 5 would be a nice sight for our eyes, I'm sure, and he'll definitely be taking that, you know, just extending his championship lead. And Theo Brosema currently not being able to chase him down. Looks like he's still in ninth place, but you know, still solid position. Nice to see Theo back again on the top 10.
Yeah, great to see Brolsema there up and in contention. Remember, he's going to be battling with that of Hunter Reeve for that beneficiary opportunity. Reeve, though, evidently still has the edge. And here's the race leader. Not just the leader in the pro category, but the leader in the overall. And Dustin Burkhalter looking for success here tonight at Sonoma Raceway. And Burkhalter, who has been a driver that we have kept our eyes on in a number of capacities here so far this season, but he has yet to find victory lane despite what has been a very competitive pro class. He's not alone, though. Here comes Tyler Langenberg onto the pit lane. Also, David Levine is going to come out of the pit lane just ahead of him. So perhaps our last wave of stops, and we see there JP Costa. Looks as though they jacked up Burkhalter's car as well. That could be a sign that he's going to put on fresh rubbers here for this 19.5-minute run to the checkers. But Burkhalter is down and away, and we'll see how things shuffle out here as he heads up to 2.
Obviously, the advantage that Burkhalter has is he has a pretty much a 10-second lead, so he can afford to kind of change tires and come out on fresh rubber to put in those lap times, because he obviously has that buffer. As you can see now, Hunter Reeve coming under pressure from, I'm pretty sure that's Thomas Alton. Looks like Hunter Reeve right now finds himself on the overall podium at this moment in time. So that is amazing for the beneficiary driver, jumping pretty much everybody on looks like a perfect fuel strategy at this moment. If he can finish on this position, that will be an absolutely blast to see him on the overall podium. But looks like he's just performing a perfect race, and right now running down Brendan Agerchik for the overall P2 position.
Here's Jay Gleason, one of the last couple of cars that we can expect to see on the pit lane here for service as this race starts to wind down. But I'm with you, JP. That is an absolutely incredible effort in order to try and maybe perhaps make up the opportunity here to get a podium run. And this is not something that Hunter Reeve has backed into. His pace has been consistent all throughout this event. And right now he finds himself in 3rd. He's got heavy pressure from behind by Alton, one of the open drivers, and a lap car up ahead with Egerchik not too far off in the distance. Reeve's going to catch a break here through the S's as the lap car gives way. Alton, though, is going to be able to come through as well, but that puts him offline here at 10. That gets dodgy, and Alton had to pedal it big time, and he lost some ground.
Yeah, looks like we got information that every single lead car has pitted, so everybody's right now is fighting for position as Hunter Reeve kind of gets a bit loose, as we saw there on through turn 9 and entry of turn 10. He unfortunately dipped a wheel onto the dirt, and that nearly cost him dearly on the entry of turn 10. And luckily for him, his car's still on the tarmac, and well, he keeps on the chase for Hunter Reeve, but looks like the beneficiary driver now gets a bit of a buffer and can kind of focus to trying to hunt down Brendan Agerchik.
So a little bit more of a visual evidence, if you will, of the fact that you may not be safe anywhere on this racetrack, and there's still opportunities for things to unravel, and nothing is set in stone. Right now, we see Burkhalter, who is the overall leader, Egerchik in 2nd, pair of pro drivers in the field. There's Burkhalter with some more lap traffic up ahead. Hunter Reeve, as we mentioned, 3rd in the overall, so potential for a podium here for Reeve. Leading right now for the beneficiaries, and Thomas Alton is the class leader for the open cars, but one spot shy of a podium chance is that of Alton, with David Levine running in 5th. Langenberg, early race leader Bailey, Sean Knight, Hill, and Brolsema, your top 10 with about 16.5 minutes to go.
Looks like Theo Brosema unfortunately lost a position. Right now finds himself up into down into P10, sorry, and just a second shy of Trevor Hill. But looks like Hunter Reeve is kind of chasing down. Looks like he's matching the pace of Agerchik, which is really good to see a beneficiary driver matching the pace of a pro driver as he now heads down into turn 7, as he's not going to enter the S section. Looks like he's just behind a lapped car. I'm not pretty sure who that is at this moment, but you know, no, that's not Brendan Agerchik, unfortunately for him. But looks like he's on a charge, and I'm hope to see the battle soon with 16 minutes to go between the beneficiary and the pro driver.
Yeah, definitely could be a pretty entertaining and electric battle here. And we might have a couple of them starting to shape up as well. And one item that we often talk about when we watch these Operation eMotorsport events is drivers trying to hit their fuel number, as far as honing in and zoning in on their respective strategy, trying to make sure that they do put the right amount of fuel in their car for the latter stage run to the checkered flag. And we've seen guys misjudge it before. We've seen cars run out of fuel on the final laps, and that is something that we will keep our eye on as well. And the way that this race is unfolded, with having drivers running in the top 2 and 3 spots find misfortune, I wouldn't be surprised if we see somebody up in the top 10 suffer a similar bit of misfortune as well. Now we drop back here and take a look at Egerchek, who is starting to close up that gap on Burkhalter, albeit slightly at the front of the pack. Burkhalter, though, holding down that position here at the head of the field. Egerchek, though, on board, a little bit of clear racetrack ahead. And we see Charlie Bass back on the pit lane after we highlighted some of his misfortunes to start this race here tonight. And Bass, at the moment, ends up on the pit lane. And there's a car in trouble. Is that Tyler Langenberg? It is. There's a driver in the top 10 who has found a problem. That's through the S's of the racetrack. And Langenberg's lost a couple of spots. And how much damage is there to the front of that BMW?
Looks like that was just on the exit of turn 7. It looks like he does have a bit of damage on the front right quarter panel. Not going to hurt him a lot, but definitely having some damage is not ideal. He's going to be losing a bit of downforce, but as you can see here, just coming up to the heavy braking zone of turn 7, just swinging a bit wide. Now, is he going to hit the curb? No, he doesn't. Where does he lose? Oh, he just lost it on the exit, essentially. That's really weird to see the car just losing it. Obviously, they do have the assistance of traction control, so seeing a car just losing the back end there is extremely rare. And unfortunately for him, he just unfortunately cannot stop the car before hitting the concrete wall. And as you can see, just a bit of damage to the front right quarter panel of that BMW. But looks like he's still in the top 10, so he can put his head down and just put in some lap times. He could definitely find at least some positions till the end of the race.
So, with only a handful of minutes left to go, in fact, less than 14 minutes to go in this race, the leader is in lap traffic. Let's step aside momentarily and hear a quick word from Chad Failing.
I'm working on the Porsche GT3 with Park Racing and Bolt Racing. I got a phone call from the USO Pathfinder group, and they kind of informed me, and all I heard was cars, Lambos, Porsches, and I was like, yep, good to go. The opportunity that you get just to be able to come out here and actually see these kind of cars, work with teams on hand, and learn. And they don't just say, well, get out of my way and move, and I'll do it. They know. They teach you. That's the favorite part right there.
Back at the virtual Sonoma Raceway, and as you can see, Dustin Burkhalter is in heavy lap traffic at the same part of the racetrack where we saw Christopher Bailey get swept up in some misfortune while leading this race. The problem is all these lap cars are going to fall back into the clutches of Brandon Egerchek, who runs second as we set up the final sprint to the checkered flag in this race, round 6 of the 2021 Operation eMotorsports event presented by Recaro here on Pit Stop TV. Now, before we turn our attention to the conclusion of this race, or the final chapter of how this story is going to play out, let's take an opportunity and thank some of the partners here on Pit Stop TV who help make these broadcasts possible. First off, we want to remind you that our broadcast here tonight is brought to you by longtime partner Tucson Sound Art. Remember, it's your picture, your music. Head on over to their website at TucsonSoundArt.com. Check out their products and services, and make sure you use the promo code PitStopTV at checkout, all one word, to save 10% off your order. Remember, your picture, your music. Remember, a picture never sounded so good. Also, we are brought to you by Race Pace. You can pick up the pace with Race Pace, a community-driven setup shop and driver development program. For your next sim racing event, give a call to our friends at Race Pace. That way you could be up to speed and pick up your pace with Race Pace. We're also brought to you by Permanent Makeup in Maine, because you deserve the best care that money can buy. Check them out on the website, permanentmakeupinmaine.com, to learn more about what they have available, permanentmakeupinmaine.com. And finally, Whiplash Media, the official graphic and camera provider of Pit Stop TV, whiplash-media.com to learn more. Well, JP, we got less than 11 minutes to go in this race, and we've seen a little bit of trepidation by the leader getting through some of the lap traffic. He appears to have some breathing room. That lead has shrunk in just a little bit, down to about 7.3 seconds. Burkhalter, though, has got to keep his nose clean, and there may be more lap cars between now and the checkered flag.
Yeah, exactly. He only has 10 minutes to go, around 5 or 6 laps to go. So he definitely on the final stretch of the race. Obviously, right now, trying to get a bit relaxed, not pushing as much. But obviously, we saw just a simple mistake can cost you the race. And right now, all he has to worry about is just making sure he gets to the finish flag. Who doesn't have a nice and clear area is Brendan Agerchuk right now defending from Hunter Reeve. Looks like Hunter is around a second behind Brendan and just applying pressure. Looks like Hunter Reeve is on a streak right now, and hopefully for him, he can get close enough to try and make a move on the final 10 minutes of the race. It's going to be fantastic to see if Hunter can actually make that move. And obviously, as you said, Christopher Bailey less than a second behind David Levine, and well, it looks like he's on the charge as well.
So a lot still to be decided in this event, and I think perhaps the biggest variable is going to be that of the lap traffic. Now we drop back here and take a look at a driver who had some early success in this race, and as you can tell by the back of the car, Christopher Bailey obviously elected to take some time to repair that machine in what he hopes to be an attack on a top 5 spot. Sean Knight going off-roading here as they come through the S's. He's still up in the top 10, but he had a big off there. Let's see how that one just took place.
Looks like that was just on the exit of turn 8, probably on the second part as they head into turn 9. We're just going to see how he lost. As you can see now, through turn 7, the car just seems okay, not a single traction loss. Now, is he going to hit the curb and unsettle the car through turn 8? As you can see now, as he heads left and then right, it looks like he just carried a bit too much speed. And then as soon as he got onto the curb and back on the asphalt, looks like the car just bounced in. Well, it was unsettled, and unfortunately the car didn't like that. And unfortunately for him, he lost quite a bit of time, but looks like he just kept down his position and is still in the top 10 fighting for those important points on his championship.
Yeah, not the worst of off-track excursions that we've seen here tonight, but nevertheless, it certainly broke some momentum. And while we were watching that replay, Christopher Bailey has gotten back up into the top 5. So, and I'll tell you what, he may not be totally out of the opportunity to win his 5th class structured race, or I should say win his 5th event in class on the season. He's trying to chase down this driver, and Thomas Alton, who's got about 10 seconds in arrears ahead of that of Christopher Bailey. However, there is a lot of traffic up ahead of Alton here that he's going to have to mind his manners to get by and try to prevent Bailey from closing, who's just now getting up to turn 10. We're going to be watching that deficit because that is going to be a race for the open win. Granted, it's happening 15 to 25 seconds behind Burkhalter, the leader, a spot in which Bailey held at the time of his mistake after tangling with a lap car heading up to turn 4.
Yeah, obviously I'm pretty sure that mistake is going to be going through his head. As you can see a battle between, I guess it's Sean Knight and Trevor Hill. Yeah, a battle for 8th place right now. It looks like that mistake cost him quite a bit of time, but luckily for him, he just kept his position. Sean Knight, obviously, at the beginning of the race was running in 5th place, but I guess a streak of bad luck and unfortunate instance for him. Now he finds himself all the way down in 8th, trying to hold on to the 8th position. Obviously, Trevor Hill right now trying to get that 8th position, but well, luckily, hopefully, Sean Knight was. I thought it was gonna giving him the bumper, but looks like Trevor Hill is going to be just holding back a little bit, just applying pressure. The Porsche is just mighty on this part of the racetrack, and as you can see, just getting closer and closer and closer. Are we going to see a move down into turn 4? Looks like not quite right now, but looks like Trevor Hill might be lining up a move as they head into the carousel.
You saw momentarily the Recaro Automotive logo coming right into your living room as he closed up to the back bumper there of Sean Knight's car, and I think that's about as close as you can get without touching. Knight, though, through the carousel. We've seen a number of drivers slip up just in the middle of the corner and on corner exit a couple of times here tonight. So far, though, a perfect exit to try to fend off the spot. He's trying to cement 8th by the time we get to the checkered flag. But a great run here by Hill, a pair of open drivers battling for what would be 3rd in class for this position, with the beneficiary and Theo Brolsema just behind him, rounding out the top 10. But we have to tip our cap once again with 6 minutes to go to that of Hunter Reeve. What a great job by the beneficiary driver, who is not that far behind Brandon Egerchek for what could be second overall in this race. He's coming.
He's definitely pushing the wheels out of that car. I was just looking at the gap, and he just gets closer and closer and closer, and just right now it looks like it's less than a second. So obviously just applying pressure to Brandon here. He still has nearly 6 minutes to go, so around 3 laps I'd say to go, and he can definitely do this. You know, he was running in P5. We thought that was going to be a great result. He found himself in the podium, and right now he finds himself chasing a pro driver. So this is a fantastic result for the beneficiary driver, and I hope to see him closing that gap and trying to put the car side by side through the next few corners.
And for Hunter Reeve, you have to wonder what the agenda is right now. I mean, Egerchek is second in his class, also second overall on the racetrack. But for Reeve, he's going to be able to gain maximum points if he stays in this spot. But this is about bragging rights. Granted, you want to come in here and beat all the drivers that you're racing who have a similar tag at the end of their name. But to say that you came home runner-up in a field this competitive on a track this tough certainly would mean a lot to that of Hunter Reeve if he can get up and around Egerchek, and he is certainly closing and under braking here as they come through the hairpin at turn 11. This may be the best battle on track that we have to the checkered flag with 4.5 minutes to go. Egerchek with the drive here off of turn 12 into the line, and it looks as though that Hunter Reeve has closed it up ever so closer that time as they head up the hill with another lap car not too far out ahead.
I was just looking at the timings once again, and it looks like through the third sector, Hunter Reeve was nearly 6 tenths quicker than Brandon Egerchek. So right now the pressure is definitely going to be coming up alive. As you can see now, both cars just fighting through the curbs, trying to push, trying to extract as much lap time as possible, not only from the car, from the track as well. And well, looks like Hunter Reeve is now closer than ever, trying to force the driver ahead of him into a mistake as they head into the carousel. Looks like both drivers get it nailed down as will the lap traffic play a factor on the next few corners. Looks like he just might be with enough of a gap to try and make it, I guess, put himself out of the way through turn 10, but you know, it's getting closer and closer, and it looks like we do have a second lapped car on their way. So well, things are going to get heated as they head into 2 laps to go, I guess, after this lap.
While Egerchek has a bob on the exit of turn 7 at the right-hander, now starts to attack. Look at Reeve using all the curbing at his disposal through the first sector of the S's, coming down the hill now. They have lost some touch, though, to Burkhalter, the leader. So Burkhalter, it's going to be about keeping it on the pavement here for these final 3+ minutes or so, and we'll see how that pans out for the remainder of this event. But this is the best race we've got going for second overall. Here's Burkhalter to the line. Now we watch this battle, and the lap traffic has arrived on the scene, and there are a bunch of them. That's going to give Reeve a chance to close it up here. This is for second overall, and Reeve for bragging rights here. And how about this? Brandon Egerchek started 8th up to 2nd. Reeve started 7th up to 3rd. These drivers have carved their way up in the podium spots, and they are certainly not going to be complacent with settling for 2nd or 3rd. They want as much as they can get, especially if something was to happen with the front runner in Burkhalter, and this battle for 2nd is getting set to head towards turn 4.
Yeah, now these left cars can actually force an overtake, I guess, depending where they move themselves out of the way. Looks like the BMW is going to be sticking to the inside line, and it looks like Brandon Egerchek is going to be forcing his BMW through the inside. No, the left car just closes the door, and that's just going to slow Brandon down ever so slightly. Looks like he's going to have a compromised line on the exit, and that could allow Hunter Reeve to get closer, but looks like the left cars are not making Brandon Egerchek's life any easier. Look at this. Hunter Reeve might be looking on the outside as Brandon Egerchek forces himself on the inside. The number 47 BMW unfortunately has to let them both go at this moment in time. He's now heading side by side with Hunter Reeve, and Hunter has to back off big time. Looks like now the BMW is going to be compromising, and no, that is not ideal place to try and let that driver by, but looks like you're fighting as if it was for position.
That is close. Tim Bernard racing, one of the drivers up at the podium spot there as they come around the corner. Hunter Reeve certainly had to catch his breath there at that moment as they came through the S's, and that may cost him a chance to try to race for that second spot. He caught the second-place runner in Egerchek. Bernard, though, was all over him right on the door as they came through. Bernard is now falling back a ways, but there's another lap vehicle now separating Egerchek and Reeve, and that may be all she wrote as far as the battle for the second spot, as we may be on, depending on where the leader is here, we could be on about 2 laps to go. We'll see if we make it here to the white flag, as it looks as though Burkhalter has come in turn 4. I believe we're going to get at least one more lap in here, with his lead now up to 11 seconds over Brandon Egerchek and Hunter Reeve.
Yeah, the definite battle between those two and the left cars definitely didn't help the lap times, and unfortunately for Hunter Reeve, looks like he lost over 2 seconds. Is now going to have a pit stop TV replay. Is it going to be due to the left cars, because they were extremely close as they head into turn 8? No, that's Tyler Langenberg as he heads into turn 10. Now, is he going to dip a wheel onto the dirt? No, looks like he's just going to be wide on turn 10. Now, does he hit the wall? Obviously, let's remember he has damage. Oh, looks like that looks like hardware failure. Looks like he just completely missed his braking point.
Yeah, perhaps second incident of the night for that of Langenberg, as he overcooked turn number 11 at the hairpin and lost 2 spots there to Sean Knight and Trevor Hill. Langenberg, though, still holding on to a top 10 spot. So the clock expires. It looks as though this is going to be the final lap. So here comes Dustin Burkhalter. He's going to come to the checkered flag. He was one of the few pros who have yet to visit victory lane, but he's got the job done tonight. It's Dustin Burkhalter, the winner at Sonoma.
Great win for Dustin. Great win for Dustin. Absolutely just class of the field after the mistake. But looks like Brandon Egerchek is going to be holding down to P2, and Hunter Reeve. What a race for the beneficiary driver. Great to see him finishing on the overall podium.
And despite missing the podium by 1 spot, Thomas Alton will come to the line as the best open driver in the field and pick up a class win, denying the opportunity for Christopher Bailey to go 5 for 6 on the season. Bailey has to settle for 5th. David Levine came home at 6th. And here's Sean Knight trying to fend off Trevor Hill for what looks to be that of 7th spot. Hill with a great run, though. He's going to have an opportunity all over the backside of Knight as they come to the line. And at the stripe, they touch at the start-finish line, and they crash after the checkered flag.
Now that was a photo finish. Sean Knight absolutely leaving no room on the wall, on the inside line essentially. And luckily for him, he still gets to hold on for his position. But that was a photo finish if I've ever seen one on this league.
Now we come into some of the drivers trickling across the line who were showing flashes of brilliance, like that of a Shane Hunter, who crashed out of 2nd spot earlier in this race. Here's John Winker, whose race unraveled midway through, but that is the driver of the hour in Dustin Burkhalter. We talked about how competitive this pro class has been this season, besides Brandon Egerchek winning back-to-back in the first 2 races of the season. We have had a different driver go to victory lane ever since, and the newest driver's name you will see in the win column is that of Dustin Burkhalter. And how about Hunter Reeve? If you want to give an award for the overall driver of the race, you have to tip your cap to Reeve. He does, in fact, grab his 5th class win of the season in 6 races, and he will extend the points lead for the beneficiaries by virtue of his podium finish on the overall. And the celebration continues for some of our top running drivers. And there's Thomas Alton, who has a reason to celebrate amongst himself as well, and he is doing just that here. Up the drag strip here at Untitled Raceway, heading down the front straightaway. What a job for Thomas Alton, your open winner. We're going to have a chance to hear from all of our class winners when we come back here at Pit Stop TV. A unique effort to celebrate there for Alton. What a race. We got a lot to unpack. Let's let these drivers burn the house down. When we come back on the other side, we'll hear from our winners as we just wrapped up round 6 of 8 for Operation eMotorsport on Pit Stop TV. Don't go anywhere.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Back here at the virtual Sonoma Raceway, where we just wrapped up yet another exciting event for Operation eMotorsport presented by Recaro. And I'll tell you what, this race lived up to all expectations. Hard to believe there's only 2 races left to go in the winter slate of the season. And believe it or not, we have yet another winner in the pro category, and he also grabbed the victory in the overall. What a drive by Dustin Burkhalter. As we mentioned, the 5th different driver to capture top honors in the pro category in 6 races, and he did so by a final margin of victory in excess of 9 seconds by being able to keep his nose clean all throughout. It's a pleasure to welcome from the winner's circle to the broadcast booth our winner tonight here at the Sonoma Raceway, Dustin Burkhalter. And Dustin, all year long, the pros have been one of the most competitive classes across the platform, and tonight it further exemplified that as to why. It was a stacked field. We saw lap traffic be a huge factor, but you got the job done. How does it feel to conquer not only this racetrack, but this pro field?
It's a pretty good feeling. It seems like this season, if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck, and everything just kind of went my way tonight.
Now, Sonoma Raceway is a very technical course, and it seems as though that settling into a rhythm would be top priority. But lap traffic was a factor right off the jump. As a matter of fact, you were, kind of within striking distance there when we saw lap traffic kind of jump up and grab Chris Bailey from the top spot. What was going through your mind when you saw that incident play out and the window of opportunity open for you to pick up that top spot?
Since as soon as the green flag flew, that's what I was trying to get. I was hoping I could get him to make a mistake. I could get him to make a little mistakes, and I'd gain the time back, and then we'd equal it back out. And big mistake like that just unfortunately got into the lap traffic, and he went around, and there was no way he was going to catch up. I wasn't going to make any mistakes, even if it cost me a little bit of time on track. It was worth it to keep it clean.
And we did see some evidence of that ebb and flow late in the race when you were around lap traffic. You give up a little bit of time to get through cleanly. Once you had clear racetrack, you would extend the margin back out to 9 or 10 seconds. But we did notice you were one of the last cars, at least in the lead group, to come down the pit lane. Was that a predetermined strategy all throughout, or was the agenda to try to stretch the tank as far as you could and then make sure that you had a clear and clean run to the checkered flag afterwards? What was your pit strategy going into tonight?
Pit strategy was try to, if I had to, follow Chris into the pits, and then if I had a good shot and he went into the pits, or if he didn't pit and there was traffic ahead, I was going to dive in once the pit window opened to try to let the traffic slow him down and gain a little bit of time I can, and ended up working out, and I figured I'd just stay out until I couldn't go any further.
Now, obviously, the last couple of weeks, we've seen an open driver jump up and grab the overall win. We mentioned the fact this is your first win for the pro ranking, but it wasn't just the best in class. It was the best out of everybody. You took the overall honors in dominating fashion. What does it mean to you? We try to harp in the fact of the significance of this series, the overall importance of everybody involved, but also the competitive nature is right up there. And it was evident with the amount of parity that we saw in the top 5. For you to be able to capture this victory and to do it in the fashion in which you did, especially in a series as special as Operation eMotorsport, how much does this truly mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot. Been a rough couple of weeks, and this is actually a high point for me.
Well, we're happy to see that there was so much success there. Even though the bad luck was on your back throughout the first few rounds, you finally were able to not have any black clouds hanging over you through the duration of this race. And fortunately, we got 2 races left to go for you to ride this wave of momentum into Mid-Ohio and Sebring. What are your thoughts heading into those final 2 races?
I think Mid-Ohio, the Porsche is going to be pretty even with the BMW. At Sebring, it'll be real iffy if we can keep up due to the super long straights, but Mid-Ohio's a track that most people don't run a lot just because it's so technical and unforgiving, and got a little bit of experience there, so I'm hoping I can continue the trend that I started here and at least hope for a top 5.
Similar characteristics to a track in which you just perfected here tonight, Dustin. Before we let you go, we just want to give you the opportunity to thank anybody who makes this possible for you. Obviously, you have a lot to be proud of, and just want to, kind of share the floor with you to see if there's anybody who helps make this possible for you.
Obviously, Operation Motorsports, Recaro Mobile One for putting this on, and the EOD Warrior Foundation. It's a charity close to my heart. Got them on the roof, and friends and family, and my teammates Shane and Sean and Paul, who unfortunately sat out tonight.
Well, Dustin, we're happy that you were able to put on the performance and display your true talents here on the sim on a track here like Sonoma Raceway. What a drive by you, my friend. Congratulations, and thank you for being a part of this series. Thank you for making it so interesting, and congratulations on the overall win and the first win for you on the season in the pro category.
Thank you.
Again, that is Dustin Burkhalter, the 5th different winner across the pro rankings, and another driver who captured overall top honors. And perhaps one of the best stories of the night was that of the beneficiary, Hunter Reeve, who not only captured another win in class, but also had a podium finish. We're going to turn it over to JP Costa, who's with tonight's 3rd place finisher on the overall and beneficiary winner, Hunter Reeve.
So Hunter, we're kind of getting used to talking to you each and every single week. So I guess, you're kind of used to seeing my voice. So tell us, how was qualifying on this such tricky course? Just trying to push as hard as you can and trying to avoid any mistakes. Unfortunately, you qualified down in 8th. Do you think you had a little bit more in qualifying?
Yeah, I think so. I only really have experience here running like NASCAR or stock cars around here. So I know that track sorta, just not that well in this car, so I think that's why I didn't really do that well in qualifying.
Well, but obviously as soon as the green flag dropped, you were already applying pressure to pretty much everybody. You found yourself actually on the first few minutes all the way up into P6 and obviously challenged for P5. How difficult it is to overtake on this racetrack?
It is tough, but it's doable. You just got to find the right spot. Pretty much from the last half to the hairpin, you can't make any moves really. So it's hard. You gotta really plan what you need to do.
And obviously for you, it was a pretty much mistake-free race. We haven't seen you just getting off tracks, just not pushing the car too hard. And obviously after the pit stops, you found yourself all the way up into P3, the podium position. And how hard were you pushing on the final part of the racetrack, trying to catch, essentially just trying to finish overall P2?
I was actually pushing really hard. So, yeah, it was a good fight. I felt like I could have passed Brandon, but, just got mixed up with lap traffic, and it didn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, we were watching that on stream actually, and how frustrating was the lap traffic on that point in time? Looks like they were battling for position at that moment, and unfortunately it just costed your battle. Do you think you could have maybe put up a challenge, maybe a move down into turn 10 or turn 11 to try and get that 2nd place position?
Maybe, but if I had more time, it is what it is. It's just one of those deals. Yeah, bummed, but hey, it's all right.
Well, obviously, you won your class. Obviously, it's great to see you on the overall podium. And, well, next week you're going to be heading to Mid-Ohio. Can you kind of taste the champagne of the championship already? Are you kind of expecting yourself that high up, or are you still focusing race by race?
Just race by race. I feel like if you just start planning ahead too far, you just lose focus. So, yeah, just race by race.
what about next week, Mid-Ohio? Do you have any experience on that racetrack? Do you have anything kind of hoping, just raw pace, just experience? Maybe you like the track?
Mid-Ohio is fun. It's got a fun flow to it. But I think I'll just try and keep the same mindset I always do, is just, be smooth as you can and, be fast when you can, I guess.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Fantastic result for you tonight. And, who you have to thank for this amazing result?
Yeah, Team HJ, Operation Motorsports for putting this all together, Recaro, Mobile One, and Tooth Autosport.
Well, great. Fantastic result once again. Really happy to see you back on the overall victory lane for your class, and congratulations on the podium.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Well, that was Hunter Reeve, overall third place finisher, winner of the beneficiary class. And now on to our our class winner for the open class, Thomas Alton. Back to you, Eric.
Thanks a lot, JP. Thomas Alton, welcome to the broadcast booth. Missed the podium by one spot on the overall, but your first open win of the season, and only the third different driver to capture a win in the open class in this 2021 winter stretch. This seemed to be a relatively tough race, and I know that one of the drivers you expected to battle for the class win, and Christopher Bailey, had some problems early on. Lap traffic seemed to be a key factor in tonight's event. What are your thoughts on the pathway in which you took to find victory here in the open class tonight?
Quite honestly, the open class is pretty dang tough with Chris and Shane Hunter all season. It's been just playing catch up with them. So when I saw Chris behind me, I don't know what happened, but I felt pretty fortunate. I believe I stayed about 2 seconds within Shane, and he ended up going off and getting stuck. And so it ended up just being a series of fortunate events. And yeah, the lap traffic was tough. It gave me a few pucker moments off track, but I don't know, I was able to keep it calm and not spin out.
Now, this seems to be a track in which is it kind of lends itself to an opportunity maybe to make an error or be caught up in something not of your own doing. What was your game plan coming into tonight, kind of knowing that? We don't talk about passing opportunities that much at Sonoma. We talk about being able to run a clean race. Was that your agenda all night long, or did it kind of evolve to that once you started seeing the likes of Christopher Bailey and also some of the other drivers who are running up ahead of you have problems while running in front-running positions?
Really, it was just a matter of trying to stay consistent. If you actually look back at some of the practices that I've done over the last week, I actually purchased the track last week, and I've been trying to put some time in and trying to study all the telemetry, and I maybe only ran about 60% of them as clean laps, and so I tried to just settle into this race and plop behind a guy that knew what he was doing, and it worked out for me.
Now, with that, we've got 2 races left to go, and I kind of find Mid-Ohio to be somewhat similar to that of Sonoma Raceway, being that it is very technical and sometimes unforgiving if you're to get offline. Is Mid-Ohio an event in which you're looking forward to competing in next week? And if so, what is your level of confidence knowing that you've got this win under your belt heading into that round in 1 week's time?
I look forward to it. I've never raced it before, and honestly, I'm hoping I can make it. Unfortunately, I do have a prior commitment with an urban search and rescue team that I'm a part of. I have some training that's supposed to be scheduled for that day, but we'll see how COVID goes. But I'm looking forward to at least learning a new track and trying it out during my off time here.
Well, we certainly hope that you can make it, but of course that is a very noble cause, and that kind of centralizes the whole backbone of this series and organization as a whole. And I posed a question earlier to Dustin Burkhalter, who won for the pros in the overall as well, but for you, Thomas Alton, with this win in class in the Open, we also have a really good look at your livery and your car right now. What does it mean to have success? Obviously a win is a win across any time that you could jump on the sim and capture victory, but to do it for this series and this organization, what does it mean to you, knowing all that it represents and all that it's about?
It's big for me. In the fire service, we are pretty closely knit with the military services. Quite frankly, we seem to kind of go hand in hand to a certain extent, and it's a great cause that I love being a part of, and I'm eternally grateful to be a part of Team Resilience and to know a couple of the members personally, and to help represent them in Operation Motorsport and their mission. A lot of people around me support me in what I do too, including my wife, who gives me the time off in the evenings when we have 2 very wild children, and she knows how much it means to me. So speaking of which, right there. So I absolutely love what I do, and I love the people that I race with and the organizations.
And we appreciate having people like you, and that's what you call perfect television there, by the way, right on cue. I know that you mentioned a lot of people who make this possible for you. Just want to offer up one more opportunity. Not sure if there's somebody else you want to give a shout out to, because these opportunities, as you mentioned, with a hectic schedule, we hope to see at Mid-Ohio and Sebring. But being that this opportunity to share the floor, anybody else you have to thank for your success here tonight?
Other than Team Resilience and my family, I'd definitely like to thank Operation Motorsport and the sponsors that help Recaro and Mobile One, and you guys for doing the broadcast. It's a lot of fun to watch, and especially when I'm not here, being able to watch the races and interact with the guys when I'm not able to be there. It's a huge benefit and fun for me.
Well, Thomas Alton, thank you for all that you do and for being a part of this, and congratulations on capturing that first open win of the season. We got our fingers crossed that you'll be able to swing Mid-Ohio next week, see if you can keep this momentum rolling. Great job tonight, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
And that is, of course, Thomas Alton, who captured top honors in the open class, 4th in the overall. And obviously you could hear just how much it means and all that he's doing. And it's actually very interesting, JP, to hear. You know, we obviously try to touch on a lot of the stories that wrap around and encompass our beneficiaries in the field, but there's a lot of personal involvement from top to bottom, regardless of class, that all these people are in. It's a heartfelt movement and initiative that Operation eMotorsport and coinciding with Operation Motorsport as a whole is involved in. And that's why I love being a part of this series every Tuesday night. And tonight's race just kind of gave us all those storylines, all the drama one could expect, and a lot of interesting results that we're going to be able to look over here with our final finishing order as they came to the checkered flag, with Dustin Burkhalter grabbing the win. Brandon Egerchek, your runner-up tonight. Unfortunately for Egerchek, he was the runner-up for the pro, so we didn't get a chance to talk to him, but he's got a podium finish to celebrate and a second-place finish in class. And Hunter Reeve, who I think had one of the best drives that we've seen here tonight, the beneficiary, rounded out our podium on the overall. And of course, we just heard from Thomas Alton, the open winner, as he celebrated a 4th-place finish. Christopher Bailey's effort to try to win his 5th race of the campaign came up 1 spot short in the class for the open drivers, but he did come back from a crash to round out your top 5. David Levine had a quiet night, 3rd highest pro finisher, 6th on the overall standings. And Sean Knight, despite getting off course late in the going, came home with a 7th place run. Trevor Hill with a quiet top 10 all night long. And Tyler Langenberg also was able to rebound from 2 off-track incidents to finish in 9th spot. And Theo Brosama rounded out our top 10. He was the 2nd highest driver for the beneficiaries here tonight.
Finishing off in P11, we do have the pro driver of Shane Hunter, the last driver not to be lapped, and right behind him, Charlie Bass on number 94, another pro driver. Unfortunately for him, he got lapped and is the first driver to be lapped. Brock Hogan on the number 58 is going to be finished off in 13th place, right ahead of John Winker, another beneficiary driver, in 14th place. Callum Beldam is going to be finishing in 15th place, right ahead of Jay Gleason on the number 64. The number 69 of Rick Haslett is going to be finished off in P17, right ahead of Rodney Campbell, another open driver, on the number 62. Jason Leach is going to be finished off in the number 22 in 19th place, right ahead of Tim Bernard in the number 47. Those are our top 20.
And now we get into a couple of the drivers who did not have the best of nights. John Fix, one of the open competitors, was 21st. Justin Jarrett, a beneficiary driver who found trouble early, but after that early misstep, saw the rest of the race out, did finish 2 laps down, but made it home to the checkered flag. And Brian Winker, who had a problem early in the going, rounded out our 23-car field here tonight. Now, before we go, we do want to offer up additional little bit of shout-outs to some of the partners for the series who make this possible. Of course, we will start with the presenting partner of Operation eMotorsport in Recaro. All that they do to be involved, and they actually do so much. They've been a longtime partner here for the Operation eMotorsport campaign since its inception, and it is because of Recaro Automotive, because Recaro Automotive puts people first every time, and they do so much for these drivers and competitors. And, of course, Mobile One, as Mobil 1 is the world's leading synthetic motor oil brand. We also want to take this opportunity to thank the partners that we have here on the platform at Pit Stop TV as well. And it goes back to our friends at Tucson Sound Art. Remember, it's your picture and your music at Tucson Sound Art, the website, TucsonSoundArt.com. All you have to do is provide them an image. They will put it on a beautiful, high-quality, custom-framed canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker, because with Sound Art, you'll end up getting the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for more information. And when you do so with our friends at Tucson Sound Art, you see the web link there on the bottom right-hand portion of the screen. Make sure you use the promo code PITSTOPTV. I'm fortunate to celebrate my 31st birthday here tonight. Already told my wife that this is something I'm looking for to finish the office. Head on over to Tucson Sound Art. I'm talking to you, honey. Use that promo code PITSTOPTV at checkout and save 10% off your next purchase. We're also brought to you by our newest partner in Race Pace, because if you ever wish that you had a race engineer on speed dial, this is your opportunity. As somebody who has not perfected the art of setups, this is a service in which I would use often. Thanks to Race Pace, a driver development service and setup shop rolled all into one, you can work with Tyler, who is a real-world race engineer, and step up your game before your next big event. Make sure that you pick up the pace with Race Pace. And we're also brought to you by Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, because when it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. Now, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, and Ashley Bullier, a certified micropigmentation specialist, provides professional, safe, and personalized services. Contact them at their website, permanentmakeupinmaine.com, or check out them on social media as well to see more testimonials and examples of some of the products and services that they have to offer. Again, the website down below, permanentmakeupinmaine.com for more. And finally, Whiplash Media, the parent company of Pit Stop TV. Whiplash Media specializes in various sim racing resources, whether it be paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs that you were able to see here tonight, and so much more. They also have a significant presence in real-world racing as well, and they offer services there such as photography, social media management, public relations, and more. For more information, visit the URL on the bottom of your screen, whiplash-media.com. Well, JP Costa, this is obviously a broadcast in which you and I look forward to being a part of each and every week for sentimental reasons and competitive reasons, all rolled into one. Tonight kind of proved why for a number of reasons. I can't believe we've only got 2 races left to go in the slate, Mid-Ohio and Sebring. If tonight's any indication, I think we're in for a lot of competitive action, maybe a little bit of drama, and a whole lot of uncertainty. I don't know who the favorite is with 2 races left to go, and I can't wait till we get there.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm pretty sure Mid-Ohio is going to be providing just as much excitement as we saw here tonight. You know, a track which is pretty much similar, a lot of elevation changes, not a lot of room for mistakes, and I'm pretty sure we can see just as an exciting race, if not more exciting than tonight, because tonight was just fantastic. You know, drivers making moves left, right, and center. Unfortunately, for some, a few mistakes here and there, and well, I hope to see more of that next week. Not the mistakes, just more and more clean moves from each and every single driver.
As JP alluded to, 1 week from tonight, the last sprint race of the calendar at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, March 9th. 2 weeks from tonight, March 16th, scheduled to go for 2 hours for the season finale at the Sebring International Raceway. But we also have more racing coming up on the platform this week. Tomorrow night, we got stock cars at Talladega Super Speedway for the Bluegrass iRacing Series, their 14th race of the year. Friday night, more stock car action with the LTAC Cup Series here on Pit Stop TV, race number 8 of their season at Chicagoland. A Monday night doubleheader with the BRP iRacing Series at Williams Grove Speedway and the Pacific Challenge GT3 Series late night on the East Coast, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, with their series finale at Suzuka International, the Grand Prix course. And of course, we'll be back here next week with Operation eMotorsport, the penultimate race of the winter season at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. It's going to be electric. We had an incredible crew with us here tonight. Emerson Arden, who led our pre-race interview that we had earlier tonight, was handling our production duties. Corey Rexford introducing some new and exciting elements on the social media platforms. And the other voice in which you were able to hear tonight was that of JP Costa, who does an amazing job on the call of these races. And of course, I'm Eric Brennan, and I thank you all for joining us. I thank the series for allowing us to do this, and I'm excited that 7 nights from now, we get to do it all over again. Until then, we will see you next time here on Pit Stop TV. Good night, everybody.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
Operation Motorstarts helped me get me away from home, I guess you can say. I'm at home doing nothing because of my medical stuff. Besides the basic brake changing, oil changing, tire rotation. I've actually learned how to assemble and disassemble some engine parts, change some axles, do some alignments and stuff. So give it a try. You never know. This was nothing that I expected. I did not expect to be fully suited, jumping over a wall while cars are going 100 and something miles an hour. It's more than working on cars. For one, you're building friendships, you're meeting new people. And if working on cars is not your thing, Operation Motorsports has other things that you can do. Something, it's not just, I'm going to go out there and turn a wrench on a wheel.